This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
On the South today, a famous coffee brand undergoes a $20 million overhaul to cope with growing demand. Coastal issues are under the microscope as conference delegates discuss communication during natural disasters. And rain and more rain. A lot of it's fallen recently and there's concern about the deluge to come. Good evening, I'm Rebecca Dupree. An historic Dunedin-based coffee producer has received a multi-million-dollar overhaul. The Greggs coffee roasting facility has redeveloped its production line to meet growing demand for the caffeinated drink.
Cerebos Greggs is reopening its Dunedin-based coffee roasting facility after a $20 million redevelopment. The company began in the city over 150 years ago with founder William Gregg. CEO Terry Svensson says the upgrades will improve both production and employee satisfaction.
I guess the more noticeable changes over the last 3 years has been new production lines that we've put in place. We've got new warehousing and distribution facilities. We've actually extended that given the quantity of coffee that we put through this facility. And of course updated the amenities for our employees.
The upgrade includes an open plan office and better staff car parking facilities. Greggs employees produce thousands of tonnes of coffee each year in a variety of flavours. Svensson says the extension will better serve a growing demand for coffee in New Zealand.
We've certainly seen an increase. New Zealanders are drinking more coffee each year, and that's good for companies like ours that roast coffee.
A large group gathered at the 4th Street factory to receive a guided tour. Svensson and Dunedin Mayor Dave Cull also spoke about the importance of the historic site. Cull says the coffee roasting facility is a significant employer for the city.
This is a significant investment and expresses the confidence that Cerebos Greggs has in the Dunedin community and the Dunedin economy, and we really appreciate it.
The site currently employs 56 people making both fresh and instant coffee. They produce some of New Zealand's best-known brands, including Greggs, Robert Harris and Bruno Rossi. Jack Conroy, The South Today.
Residents of the Dunedin suburb of Tainui were without power this morning after a line came down near the intersection of Cavill and Magdala Streets. The outage happened at 9:10 this morning and affected 430 customers. 3 Delta trucks were on the scene at 9:45 a.m. The overhead lines were repaired and restored by noon. The New Zealand Coastal Society's 24th annual conference is underway in Dunedin. The Society's main aim is to broaden communication around coastal issues. These were brought to the fore after this week's North Canterbury earthquake and tsunami warnings.
Calling for a better system for alerting people to a coastal disaster. This week's North Canterbury earthquake and tsunami warnings for coastal New Zealand brought the need for efficient and timely communication into focus. The chairman of the New Zealand Coastal Society, Rick Leifting, says some lessons can be learned from this week's offence.
Look, I think we responded very, very well with the information that we had at hand. One of the big things that have come out of this is, look, it is what it was in terms of the information that was available. One of the key things out of it though is the messaging around that and the alerting. I think that's where we do need to have some more work on.
Dunedin South MP Claire Curran was the keynote speaker at this morning's session. She says central government needs to be more involved in the issues that affect coastal New Zealand.
Central government can show leadership and that because we've got more than one coastal community affected by rising sea levels and coastal erosion, we really do need to see it as a central government issue rather than just a local government issue.
The Dunedin South Member of Parliament says the coastline has been grossly affected ever since colonisation.
In the 1840s, Pākehās moved in and what that impact has been. And one of the biggest issues is that is that there needs to be central government involved in the future, in looking at the future and developing a master plan.
The conference continues over the next few days, and Rick Leifting says the main thrust of his talk will focus on coastal inundation.
What the Waikato Regional Council have produced is a coastal inundation tool. So it provides the user with an interactive way to actually see what if we had a half a metre or a metre or some other level of sea level rise and what areas would be affected.
The New Zealand Coastal Society's theme for this conference is He Waka Eke Noa, which the Society says translates as a canoe in which we are all in with no exception. Delegates are due to tour some of Dunedin's coastal areas over the next few days. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Dunedin City councillors have made a decision on whether they support a proposal to ask central government to place a moratorium on deep sea oil drilling and gas exploration and extraction. Councillors at yesterday's meeting voted on the authority's draft submission to the government's block offer. Members of interested groups spoke at a public forum before the council's vote to try and persuade councillors before the vote. 9 councillors voted for the submission opposing the block offer. Councillors Wiley, Steedman, Lord and Hall all voted against. Councillor Elder abstained and Councillor Vandervis had already left the meeting. The motion was carried, so the Dunedin City Council will support a moratorium on deep sea drilling. We are, it seems, only halfway through the wet weather, with just as much rain as we've had this week yet to come. And while river levels in the south dropped today as the rain eased, there are still concerns about what's around the corner. Mark Price reports.
The Leith Stream is running high and dirty, but it's dropping.
Hi, I'm Mark Price in the North East Valley in Dunedin, next to the Leith Stream. It is powering down there, but still well contained within its banks.
More rain is forecast for tonight, Wednesday, and tomorrow, Thursday, and there were concerns about river levels, but that concern seems to be subsiding.
At the moment we're looking at all rivers on the eastern coast of Otago, but particularly around Dunedin and North Otago. The Pomahaka and South Otago has been up a little bit, but is receding, and so our attention is really now around Dunedin and North Otago. But the good news is that there's nothing of concern at the moment or forecast either.
South Dunedin, badly flooded in June last year, was certainly very wet this afternoon, but no problems have been reported. While tomorrow's weather should be better than today, umbrellas will still be needed in the morning and it will be colder. I'm Mark Price for The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, and Invercargill Gallery uses workshops to get young people into the art scene, and we review a book that's all about the Dunedin sound.
Emu oil has been used for centuries to support joint mobility and tired muscles. Also helpful for supporting healthy skin. Available as oil or in capsules. Go to www.silverhorn.co.nz to order emu oil today. Southern Television takes pride in providing a wide range of programming. If you have concerns about our programming or feel that standards have been breached, please write to the address on screen within 20 working days of airing. Visit Broadcast Standards Authority website for more information on the complaints process.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Chin. Neck, shoulder, back, sciatica, pain specialists. Innovative tools specifically designed to contour your grooves of depletion and excess muscle buildup.
Sunny Chin, it works.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489 2274.
Grandad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Grandad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf with him.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. Gillians.co.nz.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
Come one, come all to the Oamaru Victorian Heritage Celebrations, a year to reflect on the intriguing world of medicine in the Victorian era. 16th to the 20th of November, www.vhc.co.nz for more information.
Welcome back. Police have arrested and charged a 22-year-old man in relation to a burglary and arson in Invercargill on Monday. The Pomona Street District store on Tramway Road was broken into early on Monday morning. Later the same morning, there was a suspicious fire in a nearby building on Pomona Street. The man was due to appear in the Invercargill District Court late this afternoon. Police thanked members of the public for their assistance. It was the soundtrack to our lives and it took the world by storm. A new book by Ian Chapman offers a retrospective on the influential Dunedin sound of the 70s, 80s and 90s. The Dunedin Sound, Some Disenchanted Evening, examines how music shook things up here in New Zealand and abroad.
It started with 3 chords and a DIY attitude. It became a worldwide phenomenon.
I'm Roselle Lavone and I'm here outside the Empire, which is currently undergoing renovations. Legend has it that this is where the Dunedin sound began.
20 years ago, you might have seen acts like the Verlaines and the Clean hit this stage. Groups like these on the Flying Nun label influenced bands from Nirvana to Pavement. If you heard a memorable riff from the 80s or 90s, the chances are Dunedin bands did it first. Today, the sound is having a renaissance with a new book by Ian Chapman. He's been asking people to send in their photos and memories for the book.
When I saw all this stuff, I thought, wow, actually, I've got a bit of an obligation to preserve some visual history here. So I changed the format of the book from being 50-50 visual text to probably about 70-30 in favour of the images.
Chapman says the music could have only come from one time and place.
I think that was unique and can never happen again. The world's a much smaller place now. Dunedin is not isolated like it was, which was a part of the mix, not all of it. The social circumstances are very different today. Back then we had the division with the Springbok tour, with nuclear testing protests, nuclear warship visit protests. There was such a lot of angst in the air.
Several musicians from the Dunedin scene are performing together later this month. For Chapman, it's like seeing his old mates down at the pub.
I'm delighted. There's going to be 3 acts playing. Graham Downs from the Verlaines, they're all doing solo sets. Graham Downs from the Verlaines, Martin Phillips from the Chills and Bob Scott from the Clean and the Bats are going to be performing for us.
He's been a consultant on a fascinating new interactive Kiwi music exhibition and hopes this and his book will bring a new generation in search of that Dunedin sound. And if Chapman's music collection is anything to go by, those kids could be hooked for a very long time. Rosella Bone, The South Today.
After the break on The South Today, we take a closer look at rugby club that's produced the most All Blacks, and ground staff work hard to dry out a sports field in Invercargill. We'll find out why.
Emu oil has been used for centuries to support joint mobility and tired muscles. Also helpful for supporting healthy skin. Available as oil or in capsules. Go to www.silverhorn.co.nz to order emu oil today.
Oh, help! Don't suffer in silence. Call Sunny Chin, Chi Master Body Technician, for structural, muscular, emotional bodywork. Phone 03 4250 606 for all your pain relief.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Grandad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf, and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Grandad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf with him.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. Gillians.co.nz.
Come one, come all to the Oamaru Victorian Heritage Celebrations, a year to reflect on the intriguing world of medicine in the Victorian era. 16th to the 20th of November, www.vhc.co.nz for more information.
Welcome back. The Otago University Rugby Football Club has produced more All Blacks than any other club in the country, and that includes the Ponsonby Rugby Club, which sometimes argues the point. Here's Sports Report, Adrian Ciccone.
Trevor Turner, Otago University Rugby Football Club captain, with the numbers. Hi, I'm Adrian Ciccone, and what I'm referring to is the number of All Blacks produced by the Varsity Club, a number still greater than any other club in New Zealand. It was suggested last week that by earning his All Black cap against Italy, Rieko Ioane put the Ponsonby club ahead with 45 past or present All Blacks, but Turner begs to disagree.
We're still slightly ahead of Ponsonby. There's every chance that they might catch us up, and if they do, we'll be congratulatory of the club. It's a great rugby club they've got, but we're also very proud of the number of All Blacks that have been part of the University Rugby Club, and that's why I'm confident.
So, it appears Varsity has 5 more All Blacks than Ponsonby, and even if you count the All Blacks who have either come to a club or players that have gone on to become All Blacks after leaving their club, Varsity has 68 and Ponsonby has 50. Does it really matter? Of course it does. I'm Adrian Ciccone from the South Today.
Fish and Game Southland has had a win in the Environment Court over part of a proposed route for the Around the Mountains cycle trail between Kingston and Walter Peak Station. The Southland District Council obtained consent earlier this year for the trail to follow a section of the Oreti River. However, Fish and Game appealed to the Environment Court and the court upheld their appeal. Southland Mayor Gary Tong says he's deeply disappointed by the court's decision. And more bad weather, this time in Invercargill. Rain is threatening to further disrupt the 4-day Plunket Shield match between the Otago Volts and Canterbury. And Queen's Park ground staff are doing all they can to dry the field.
With nearly 12 hours of constant rain overnight and this morning, Queen's Park and Southland cricket staff have been working tirelessly to try dry the oval and prevent further delays for today's match between the Otago Volts and Canterbury. Play was delayed yesterday and everyone's trying to make sure that doesn't happen again, but they're up against it.
We've got a super sopper that takes water off the outfield. We've had about 10 containers of that, so that's quite a lot of water. But we're not far away now, we've just got a few soft areas.
The weather in Invercargill leading up to the 4-day match has been mostly nice and sunny, so Domigan says it's a bit annoying for everyone that it's turned for this match. He says the rain actually has a significant impact on the game.
The reason why it has an impact is because we play on a natural surface that is affected by weather. From day to day it can change considerably.
The players have been sitting around waiting for the weather to let up and the umpires to declare the grounds fit for play. Otago Volts cricketer Sam Wells says further delays could have a serious impact on the result at the end of the 4 days.
Yeah, obviously it's pretty massive to lose basically 2 full days, so I guess we'd be in a position there we'd be playing out for the draw, I suppose, unless there was some pretty adventurous declarations or feeding of runs from both sides.
Tomorrow is the last day of the Plunket Shield game. Ruby Spink, The South Today.
The Southland art scene is getting some young blood injected into it. The Invercargill Public Art Gallery is hosting a number of workshops this month to get young people into the gallery, and it's hoped that the momentum will continue more projects like this in the future.
The Invercargill Public Art Gallery is reaching out to members of the public who would not usually view art. Last evening they held a paper sculpture workshop for teenagers and they're planning more. It's all being done to make viewing art a less intimidating experience for the public.
Often art galleries almost like a church, you know, they're very quiet, very austere kind of places with the artwork on the walls, and a lot of people feel they don't understand what the messages are or what the art's about, and they just don't feel comfortable spaces if they haven't experienced them before. So this space, you know, it's got a much softer feel than our last art gallery. We've got carpet on the floor, we've got couches.
Mr. Kennedy says this changing image is one of many ways to bring the community in. The workshop yesterday was focusing on how to take something simple, in this case paper, and create something much more intricate. This followed on from a previous venture where children came in and curated an exhibition at the gallery.
So we thought, as well as having them choose and curate the exhibition, we'd get children to come in and perhaps, if they wanted to, take part in some free workshops to actually do some artwork.
He says if these events prove popular enough, they'll be continued through December. The teenagers taking part in the class said they learnt a lot about what art really is and what it takes.
Even though you have no experience, you can just do it. You know, you don't have to have a whole 10 years of background.
You can make art out of anything, because I didn't really think you could out of paper. We did. Like a simple piece of paper that you can kind of do anything you want with it, like develop on it and make it into something really interesting.
Gallery President Dave Kennedy says the next step for the gallery's outreach could include bringing in more culturally diverse artwork from the community. Ruby Spink, The South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on The South Today. Dunedin's historic Greg's Coffee Factory has had a $20 million makeover and has just reopened its roasting plant. Delegates at the New Zealand Coastal Society's conference in Dunedin believe there needs to be better communication of natural disasters, including tsunami warnings. And the Otago Regional Council is paying close attention to river levels in Otago, and rainfall is expected to continue for the next few days. Well, it's time now to find out what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and Phil Somerville joins us. Good evening.
Yes, hi Rebecca. This won't surprise viewers. More on Delta. There's that power line going down, scorched the grass and cut power to 900 homes. Also an issue with the substation leaking. So it goes on.
Never rains but it pours, as some might say.
Yeah, well, it is pouring and seems to do it every day at the moment. Police are warning about criminals offering illegal taxi rides in Dunedin. A story about that. More from our man in Kaikoura. He's come out this evening, but he's talked to Otago people that were trapped there or people from our area. So I look forward to reading that. The stories are coming in as we speak. Oamaru Blue Penguins, they're using their underpass, and that's become an international and internet sensation. So I look forward to that story. Mosgiel, out to Mosgiel, lightning strikes the retirement home, caused havoc with the electrical systems, and some of the panic alarms weren't going too well. Apparently trying to bring in some portable ones, and TV's not working, so that's an interesting story. And finally, let's go out to Queenstown between Jacks Point and Frankton, subdivision there. A 700-year-old moa bone's been found. So
wow.
There we go.
Read all about that in tomorrow's ODT. Thank you, Phil. Time now for tomorrow's weather.
This weather update proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn's Manuka Honey.
And here is today's Southern View. To the situation, today's depression is moving away, but it leaves a cold southeast flow over Otago with rain and strong winds. The airflow will tend west to southwesterly on Friday. Things are looking okay for the weekend though, hang on to that. To the southern outlook, southerlies easing with rain clearing for Balclutha, the Catlin Score and Lumsden, all on 8 degrees tomorrow. To the central and southern lakes outlook, gusty southeasters with rain clearing for Alexandra, Queenstown and Wanaka. Southerlies easing in Te Anau, becoming fine there with a high of 11. And to the towns in the northern part, strong southerlies with rain for Oamaru and Timaru. Gusty southeasters with rain clearing for Marama and Twizel, both going for a high tomorrow of 7 degrees. These are winter temperatures. What's going on? In Dunedin tonight, rain, gusty southeasters with a low of 7. Tomorrow, rain at first, easing to showers with sunny periods increasing in the afternoon. Gusty sou'easters easing later in the day, just 9 degrees. And on Friday, things start to improve. Sunny periods, sou'westers dying out, then a period of nor'easters before westerlies freshen later in the day with 15 degrees. And in Invercargill tonight, rain easing to showers, gusty sou'easters, 4 degrees. Showers clearing tomorrow with sunny periods increasing in the afternoon. Gusty easterlies easing, a high of 9. And on Friday, cloud increasing with showers developing later on. Westerly winds, 15 degrees. And that is news from around the south today. We'll join you again tomorrow. Good night.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.